Okay, volunteer examiners and VEX. The FCC sometime back delegated licensing of amateur radio operators to what they call volunteer examiners and volunteer examiner coordinators. It used to be done by the FCC, and you had to go to the local FCC office to take your exam.
And suffer through the code test.
Well, but that was different. Um, since they changed it, there's 14 VEX, volunteer examiner coordinators around the country, and most of them are associated with large amateur radio clubs. I guess ARL is not exactly a club, but that's one of the bigger VECs. Another big one is Laurel, which is the Laurel Amateur Radio Club in Maryland. We have a Laurel group down in Melbourne that does exams here. We have a couple that do ARL.
I thought that ARRL was in Melbourne.
It's also at Cars Park in Merritt Island. I did one last week.
And at MINS.
Maybe, I don't know about that one. And there's ARL at used to be at the Melbourne Public Library, but the woman left, and now they're going to start doing it, I think, at the volunteer fire station. I'm not sure. I haven't been to one of those since they did it. There's also online, and I do that with Marshall, which is ARRL. We do it over Zoom. There's, like I said, there's 14 of those. I just listed a few. There used to be W5YI around here, but I don't know if there's any currently. The number of people in the club were W5YI certified, accredited, I should say. And you get accreditation by a VEC by taking a 20 or 30 question open book exam and submitting it, and you have to be
100%.
at least a general. You have to be 18 years old. You can be a VE with a general.
Yeah, but you can only
do technician.
right.
Most VEs are extras.
Right.
And your certification shows you're accredited as an extra or a general. So volunteer examiners are accredited by what organization?
Charlie.
A VEC, Volunteer Examiner Coordinator. And that's where you submit the test results, and they go to the VEC, who then submits it to the FCC. Which of the following criteria must be met for a non-US citizen to be an accredited volunteer examiner?
Bravo.
It says you do not have to be a citizen. You just have to be 18 years old and have an FCC general class or above license. What's the minimum? What's the minimum age one must be to qualify?
Bravo.
18 years old. Actually, I don't know why. If you had your extra at 12, why you couldn't be a volunteer examiner.
Yeah.
Discrimination.
Yeah, age discrimination. Examination requirements, you have to have a minimum of 3 accredited VEs to administer an exam. If you're an advanced or an extra, you can administer a general or extra exam. That's surprising. Advanced can, but that's what the rules are. But there aren't many of them around. If you're a general, you can only administer a technician class exam. So what license examinations may you administer when you are an accredited VE holding a general class operator license?
Charlie.
Charlie. We actually have one of those in the NASA club, but he never volunteers as an examiner. Who must observe the administration of a technician class license examination?
Alpha.
Alpha. Okay. When you pass your exam, you get a form called a CSCE, or Certificate of Successful Completion of Exam. And you get a copy of that to keep. It shows that you passed one or more elements, depending on what you took. And it shows that you got credit for those elements, where technician is element 2, general is element 3, and extra is element 4. It's good for a year, and it can be used if there's some issue with getting your license or your call sign. It hardly ever comes up, but a situation where you may need to use it is if you passed your technician, let's say, and it's taking days to have it show up in the FCC database, so you don't have a call sign yet, and you decide to take the general exam. That's your proof that you passed the technician and you qualify for taking element 3 exam before you have a call sign or the data in the database. And that's about the only case I know of where you really use it. And that's kind of a extreme example. It's good for 365 days. However, it might be proof if you're one of these people that let your license expire and you go past the grace period where you had a higher class license, you have to go take the technician exam. But if you have proof that you had a general or extra or advanced, if you pass the tech, you can get upgraded back to whatever you were. And I think you can probably use that as proof that you had that license if you kept it.
There was something, if you had, say, a general license, you let it expire for a certain period of time, all you had to do is take the technician again,
Right.
and you would get your general.
If you have proof that you had a general.
Well, you have your old license.
Well,
Also.
yeah, some sort of proof. Okay, so how
You
long?
have to take the general test again.
No. Unless you don't have any proof that you were a general.
Yeah.
How long is a certificate of successful completion of examination valid for exam element credit?
Charlie.
365 days.
Notice it didn't say 1 year. This is leap year.
Okay. Certificate of, okay. Let me see. Oh, if you pass the general class exam, you get a CSCE, just like with any of the 3. It allows you to operate on any technician or general band segment. And you can immediately operate as a general if you append /AG to your call sign before your new license shows up in the database. And normally that doesn't take long. However, there's currently an issue. I haven't heard that it's up yet, but the FCC processing has been down for a week. So no licenses have been processed this week. And that's happened a couple times in the past.
Any idea what the AG stands for?
Acting general.
Acting general, okay.
Just like if you pass the extra, you would be a /AE. So you can do it immediately for a general or an extra without having to wait until it shows up in the database. On which of the following band segments may you operate if you're a technician operator and have a CSCE for a general class license or privileges?
Charlie.
Charlie. Until an upgrade to general is shown in the FCC database, when must the technician licensee identify with AG after their call sign?
Bravo.
Alpha.
Oh, okay.
If you're operating technician band, you don't need to be a general, so you don't have to identify. And also, the other one showed /AG. There's no magic about a slash. It could be a stroke, a dash, any kind of separator. The key is the AG. An expired license. You have your license is good for 10 years. And then they give you a 2-year grace period where you can renew your license without having to retake the exam. However, in that 2-year grace period, you're not allowed to operate. If you go past the 2-year grace period, so you're up to 12 years, to renew your license, you have to retake the Element 2 exam. And if you have proof of a previous higher grade license, when you pass the technician exam, you'll have your previous grade reinstated. And I guess that's done. I'm not sure how the process works. We haven't had it happen.
I've had that happen when
Does the FCC do it?
we just sent it in and he got his, well, Dave actually sent it in at the time. But I was one of the co-signers,
Okay.
conspirators, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Who may receive partial credit for the elements represented by an expired amateur radio license? A lot of words in those.
Alpha.
Alpha. What's required to obtain a new general class license after a previously held license has expired and the 2-year grace period has passed?
Delta.
Pass the exam and show that you were a general previously.
That's why I had to take all the tests when I did mine.
That's why what?
I had to take all the tests when I did mine.
Why?
Because my license expired around 1967. There was no records of it anywhere.
That's what,
And then in 2010, I just went boom, 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 took all three.
Okay.
mine was in 78 and they don't have any record of it.
I want to get my old call back.
See, that's why that CSCE might come in handy. If you had it.
They did let me get my calls called back.
I didn't want my old call anyway.
Okay, remote operation. I guess it's become very popular. I only know one person in the Melbourne club that does it, but he's very big on it because he's now in a little apartment and he can't have an antenna or anything, so he operates remotely in his living room. But with the internet, you can operate anywhere in the world, and there's several sites. There's Remote Hams, which is the free one, which you can go to and find stations all over the world that will let you operate their equipment. There are some others that are paid for. You have to sign up for it, and there's a fee, and there's a charge of something like 10 cents a minute to use their equipment. Those tend to be much higher powered stations with, quad Yagis on a rotator at 100-foot tower and things like that, which is one reason why I guess they're charging for it. The key is that the regulations of the country where the station is located are what applies. So it doesn't matter where you are, you have to abide by the regulations of the country the remote station is in. And like, for example, if you're outside the country operating a station in the US, you need a US primary station license. If you were operating a station in Australia, you'd have to have an Australia license.
Do they have reciprocal?
I think so, because I know Gary does Australia and Indonesia. I know he's got an Australia license and call sign.
Yeah, because these people will go down to these islands and so forth to operate. I just wondered how and they still use.
Well, yeah, but see, if they're contacting the US, then they're okay.
Even though they're operating from.
Right. Doesn't matter where you're operating from. It's the rules of the country you're contacting.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
Or not
does that country recognize our license?
It depends on the country, I guess. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Um,
We went to Russia, but we transferred back and give them all the information.
well, it's a good question because I know
If you get caught.
the PCARS Club every year goes down to
Some island down there.
huh?
Some island.
Some island, I forgot the name of it. So, and it's not in the US.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and they're actually operating from there for like a whole weekend or whatever. I don't know if I guess they would have to be licensed in that country to operate. I'll have to ask.
I don't know the answer.
Okay, so when operating a US station by remote control from outside the country, what license is required of the control operator?
Okay.
Amanda?
Um. I guess A.
Okay,
B,
good guess. When operating a station in South America by remote control over the internet from the US, what regulations apply?
Alpha or Bravo.
Remember, it's where the station you're operating is located.
C.
I'd say A. Oh,
Huh.
No. It doesn't matter about where you are. It's where the station is.
So just C.
Charlie. So if you were operating in station in Brazil, you'd have to abide by the Brazil regulations. I don't know if that requires a Brazil license or not, or that you just have to operate within their
oh. Says control over the station,
right.
not,
Yeah, you're operating it by remote control. So you are the control operator, but your station is in another country. So that's the uh, requirements you have to meet,
yeah, but
whatever
whose
that
call
country.
sign would you use?
That's a good question. I don't know. Not having done it.
Neither have I.
Well, I take it back. I did try it a couple times. I didn't make any contacts, and I used my call sign. I don't know if that was legit or not. It's another one I'll have to research.